Yo, 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 how we doing? So, I am going to share my crypto information as best I can. So, hopefully you get some value from this. Have any questions, use the chat. I will be able to look through it as we're sort of going along. But hopefully I can give you at least some basics on crypto, talk to you about my sort of thesis of what I think is going along and my general strategy. So, first of all, big disclaimer, I'm certainly not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice, this is just my own personal opinions, my own investment thesis and my portfolio, and this is just for entertainment, educational purposes only. What I'd say to you is certainly do some of your own research, do some of your own reading around the subject, and understand that any money you put into any investment, whether it be it crypto, stock, shares, etc., it's all at risk. So, some of the things that I am going to share my view on crypto, how I understand it, or how my little froggy brain got its head around it, my general investment thesis, and just some real basics on how to buy, or where to buy, and what you need to do. And then I'll talk you through my existing portfolio as of today, the 26th of October 2024. So, split this up a little bit. So how do I view Bitcoin? So I view Bitcoin completely separate to the rest of the cryptocurrencies on the market. So Bitcoin is very much a digital gold. That's the only way to describe it, and it's a bit of a hedge when it comes to traditional, what we call fiat currencies. So traditional currencies, pound, dollar, etc. If as a bit of a protection, you should hold Bitcoin if you think that either those traditional currencies will fail, or specifically, actually more importantly, inflate substantially over time, meaning that it's worth less in terms of your buying power. So that's what Bitcoin is to me, very much like if someone was buying gold, generally as a hedge, as a just in case the financial system becomes a complete mess in the future. It's also very much a long-term investment, so nearly everything I hold is relatively short term, 1, 2, 3 years. Bitcoin is very much a long term investment. I would like it to be a much bigger part of my portfolio. At the minute it's very, very limited. General plan is to try and make some money off the various more high risk altcoins, which I'll talk about in a bit, to be able to buy more Bitcoin. That's the game plan. In general, I would consider it low risk but low reward. I say that there's still a massive risk with it. It could still drop down to literally pennies. So I think the lowest it got in the past few years was about $16,000, where at its height it was $69,000. So still very high risk. That's about a 70% drop on where it was at. But on the flip side of that, with that low risk, or generally low risk and low volatility, there is a low reward potential in my opinion. So I think in an ideal situation, you could double or treble your money in the next 12 months, which compared to some other options isn't the best, but like I say, you are mitigating that risk. Long term, this is in 10 years time, I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin's £1 million, $1 million. So the plan is very much to make up as much money as possible so I can buy more Bitcoins. That's the general plan. So Bitcoin is on its own, it stands alone as its own, very much as its own investment, and completely separate from all the other cryptocurrencies on the market. Then we have all the others. So there, we tend to call them what we call altcoins, so alternative coins, and that is every other crypto in the market that isn't Bitcoin. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of them, more than thousands literally launched every single day. Most of them are complete waste or a scam or utter bullshit, but there are a few in there that are certainly worth looking at. So the way I view altcoins, rightly or wrongly, but I see it as effectively buying shares in a small tech company. So think about buying shares in something like well, think of the dot-com bubble, so something like Amazon, where it almost went to absolute peanuts, and then 10 years later it's one of the biggest companies in the world. And that can very much happen with these altcoins. Some of them will literally go to nothing. Most of them, in fact, will go to nothing eventually. But there's one or two ones in there that could outlast many years and just grow and grow. So that's pretty much altcoins. Many will fail and die, just like lots of small businesses, and there's one or two that might flourish to become a really big business. The beauty of altcoins, or certainly what I enjoy the most, is they are huge risk, so you could lose your money in an instant, but they do have huge reward potential if you're lucky and you pick one of the ones that does a big run. So that's where nearly all my money is currently placed, in a big variety of altcoins, which I will go through a bit later on of what my portfolio is at the minute. And that's purely because I want to play the huge risk card for the potential of a huge reward. So just to talk to you about my general thesis, this is nothing special, this is fairly basic crypto stuff, but effectively crypto generally has a 4-year cycle, so it has a couple of bear years where it's pretty horrendous and you can pretty much lose 99% of the value of what you invested in. Then we sit in this accumulation phase, which I think we're probably past it now, we're just into the bull now, but this accumulation phase where everything pretty much sits flat and bottoms out, and a great chance to slowly build up a portfolio. And then you get a year, hopefully a year, of what we call a pure bull run, so where everything just keeps going up and going up. Within that there'll be lots of periods of down days, so today is very much a down day. Most of my portfolio in the past 24 hours is a down 10%, so I probably lost about $5,000-6,000 today if I'd have sold, but tomorrow could be an up day where everything's up 10%. So this 4-year cycle generally coincides with the US elections, M2, so that's the liquidity around the world, money around the world, and it all effectively, I believe, in the next couple of weeks, if Trump wins the US election, I think it's on the 5th of November, this will really kickstart a big bull run in crypto. That's my general thesis as of right now. If Harris wins, then it will definitely drop. I'd say most things will probably drop 20% on the day, and then over a period of time we will still get a bull run, but whether it'll be as full on as if Trump won, who knows. To me, as of right now, this is one of the last few days to get into this cycle at fairly low prices, and you'll see that in a minute when I share my portfolio. Certainly your last chance really to get in at a good level for another good few years, basically, for the next cycle. Now obviously in 2 months time, if everything goes up and you buy in, yes, you can still make gains, but those gains are certainly much less than what they would have been if you'd have got in a month ago or 2 months ago or even now. So let's just say my other theory somewhere around Q2 next year is I think everything starts to drop off and things go down, and we start to enter that sort of bear period. So that's my rough thesis around that. Could be Q3, could be Q1, but I think somewhere in the next 6 months is sort of a really big time in the crypto world. And I just will caveat it, I could be completely wrong and it all goes to nothing tomorrow. That's fine as well. But this is my general investment thesis when it comes to crypto. So, what I will say on that, like I said, it could go to nothing. You do have a very high chance of losing money. Most people do, in fact. So all I would say is only put in what you can afford to lose. So treat it as a little bit of gambling, speculation. If you've got a little bit of pocket money saved away, why not have a go? And I'll give you a little bit of my strategy a bit later as to how to get in and out, etc. But certainly highly volatile, so you can have days where it's down, up and down 20, 30%, 100%. That will happen. And obviously there's still a massive risk of regulatory challenges, certainly in the States and other countries across the world where they are not particularly pro-crypto. Even in the UK here, at the minute, the government's not overly pro-crypto, and certainly not the European Union. So lots of risk when it comes to crypto. If you have any questions, by the way, just chuck them in. We'll answer as we go along. It'd be nice to have some form of interaction and not just talking to myself. I can read the chat screen, so feel free. So, basics. If anyone has got any crypto, please share. Tell me what you've got or what exchanges you use or anything like that. But how to buy, this is pure basics. If I was explaining this to my missus or my mother-in-law on how to get into it. So, first of all, you need a centralised exchange account, so a CEX. And this is your on and off ramps when it comes to being able to get money from the bank to be able to buy crypto, and then to be able to sell your crypto and back into your bank. You need what we call a centralised exchange. There are quite a few of these, and I'll give you a few examples in a minute, but this is the on and off ramp to your bank, so how you get it in and out of pounds or dollars or whatever you're working with. Without a centralised exchange, you cannot do that, or you will certainly struggle to do that. So if you're new, and I'll talk about wallets and storing your crypto a bit later on, but if you are generally new to crypto and you almost don't want to engage that much time into it, fine, not a problem. What I would say is buy your cryptos on the centralised exchange and just leave it on there. That is generally considered bad advice, so to say not your coins, not your crypto. If it's not in your wallet, you're not looking after it, then yes, you do hold an element of risk that if the exchange goes under or disappears or something happens to it, then obviously you lose your crypto. But we had that with an exchange called FTX a couple of years ago, which was I think it was the second biggest exchange in the world at the time. But generally I would have said now, certainly if we're talking short term, 6 months, you can put it on the exchange and leave it there, ready for them when you come to sell it and put it back into your bank. I would say that's the easiest thing if you're new to crypto and you're looking at a fairly short term sort of time horizon. Now if you're looking for the next number of years, then definitely get a wallet and move it all to that, which I'll explain that in a short while as well. So how to buy, really simple. There are lots of apps. What I would consider, some of the most popular, but certainly the most regulated, and in inverted commas, safest would be Coinbase or Crypto.com. They're the two that I generally consider my safe exchanges or safer exchanges. Nothing is 100% safe, but they're generally fairly well regulated, comply with the variety of laws in various countries around the world. Coinbase is listed on the American Stock Exchange as well, so they're the two that I would go to if I was looking for the safest. There are lots of other centralised exchanges on the market, a hell of a lot, so feel free to use some of the other ones. All I would say, there is a bit more risk, or they are less safe. But generally, the positive about some of the other exchanges is your choice of cryptos available are a lot bigger, a lot wider, and in most cases actually a better spread, so you're paying generally a fairer price for the coin, where some of the exchanges, Crypto.com, are pretty bad for this actually, that you will sort of pay quite a bit of a higher price than what it actually is on a fair market price. And Coinbase, they do fees, so every time you trade you're paying a fee. So some of the less favourable exchanges are generally their fees are either non-existent or much lower, or you're paying a fairer price. So basically the main centralised exchanges I use personally is I use Crypto.com, Mexi, which is they're like an Estonia based exchange, and then Coinbase as well, but I rarely use Coinbase now, to be honest, other than it's linked to my bank, so at some point I'll transfer money through that way. Making nice profit trading 10% swings in Bonk, using it to accumulate. Well, good luck with that. Bonk is meme coins are really popular at the minute, so we can talk about narratives actually a bit later, but meme coins are really popular. Bonk was a massive one. And there are big swings. At some point that swing might just go the wrong way though, but generally over the next 6 months it's probably going to go up. What I'd say, Briar Quest, is maybe look at like perpetual trading, so I don't know if you do that. That's on stuff like Mexi, Bybit, or if you're playing off the centralised exchanges, then perps can be good fun. But you can leverage up, effectively borrow and bet even bigger, make more money, but also you risk to lose it all. Just trust HVAR. In HVAR we trust, a little bit, John. I'll cover HVAR in a bit. I'll cover my portfolio. I'm going to share my whole portfolio of exactly what I own, how much of it I own, etc. So fairly transparent. I've got all my skin in the game. So wallets. Wallets, basically, if you want to take your money, your tokens, your crypto off an exchange, you can put it into your own wallet that you manage, you look after. Like I say, if you're doing a long-term time horizon, I would highly recommend this, because you never know what's going to happen to one of these exchanges, and if they do go under, you do lose your crypto. So if you move it across to a wallet, and I'll talk about some of the main wallets, but if you do lose, if you do move it to a wallet, then it's in your self-custody. So what I would say, that is one of the pros. You don't lose anything if you look after it, and it does allow you, if you want to get deeper in the weeds and learn about the decentralized world of crypto, so DeFi and the myriad, and that's just where these hundreds of thousands of other coins that you can buy that you cannot buy in a centralized exchange, then you definitely need a wallet. And that's how you sort of enter that world. So if anyone ever wants to talk about that in a bit more detail, happily share and advise. I've got about 15 different wallets at the minute, mainly because most wallets generally are linked to a chain, so a specific chain in which the cryptos will run on. So I've got certain coins that I can only put in one wallet because that's run by that wallet, and so on and so forth. It's really complicated. I'm happy to go into detail on a bit more, but not in this little presentation, but happy to answer any questions. Are you buying more before the election? If so, what? John, I bought a couple of grand yesterday. So yes is the answer. I've also put a leveraged bet on Bitcoin at 20x leverage to see where that goes. My liquidation price is $64,000. So if Bitcoin reaches that, then I lose the money that I put into that bet. I've only put a few $100s, so it's not the end of the world. But then I'm 20 times in my leverage. So if Bitcoin goes up 10%, I'm timesing that effectively by 20. So quite nice, quite an interesting bet for me. If Trump loses, then I certainly get wiped out and get liquidated very, very quickly. Just on wallets, there are lots and lots of wallets. Like I say, I have quite a lot, but I'd say short term, just keep it on the exchange. If you want to get, like I say, into the decentralized world, two of the best wallets, I think they're most user friendly. So if you want to learn about Solana, which is one of the big chains, one of the big ecosystems with lots of cryptos, then I would Phantom Wallet. So Phantom Wallet it's called. It's got this little ghost icon. That is a really great user friendly wallet. It's probably the best, easiest one and the best one to use. And then I also have the Crypto.com, what they call the DeFi wallet, which allows you to play on quite a variety of chains actually, but specifically the Kronos chain is its main thing, that's basically what first got me into crypto, was using the Kronos chain and the DeFi wallet and just having a bit of a play and a mess and a learn. So more than happy to talk to people about decentralized exchanges and that whole other world of crypto, but probably a bit too detailed for someone that's basic coming in. What if Kamala wins? I have a wager on her with someone. Yes, you do. You have a wager with me, John. So if Kamala wins, I don't just lose £10 to you specifically, but I'll probably lose on the day or within a few days. I suspect I will lose about 10 grand. And I won't really lose 10 grand because it's only that if I sell. So an unrealised loss of around 10 grand if Kamala wins, plus the £10 that I'll owe Mr. John as well. So hopefully that doesn't happen. I very much would like to cash in on Trump winning. A very important point for anyone getting involved in crypto is be mindful of the thousands of 100%. I'm going to come on, I don't know if I mentioned phishing attacks and scams, but if you do get a wallet, I might have even had it on that slide and just not even covered it. You do risk losing your crypto either by losing your keys, your phases, your passwords and seed phrases to be able to then access that wallet, which if you lose that, it's locked forever and it's gone. But more importantly, the scams, there's so many scams. If you ever get a wallet, you will have something called a seed phrase. never ever give it to anyone for anything ever, because that they will then just drain your wallet. Also be careful of links and various other things that you might click, certainly, or connect your wallet to, because you could lose it all as well very quickly. So that's why I say, if you're new, just probably avoid this world until you've learned a bit more about it, and stick to the centralised exchanges would be my advice. How to track what you want to do is, obviously, once you've bought something, is track the price. Now you can do that on your exchange, but I like to use CoinMarketCap, and I have all the things I'm invested in all on a watch list on CoinMarketCap, and every day I can just have a quick 2-second check of what the market's doing. Gives you a bit of you can also look back into the trading history of a particular coin. So really good for research when you just want to learn some basics, or get the links to the correct Twitter or the website, etc., and start to read the white paper, etc., and also generally just see how it's traded over the past, whatever period, whether that's a month or 12 months. You can sort of look back. So that's a free app as well, CoinMarketCap it's called. Really simple. All these things are apps in like the app stores as well, so very mobile friendly. There are very few things you need to do on desktop unless you really get into that sort of decentralized world. Then you'll have to do some things on desktop, but generally I went probably a year or so with just managing everything on my mobile, on my phone, and not having to use a desktop. But now I do quite a lot more on the desktop. So really simple, worth looking at, CoinMarketCap. Even if you just download it now just to have a look, do some research on some of the things that interest you like the look of, etc. It's a really good free resource. And importantly, have a plan. And this was my error in the last bull run. I didn't have much of a plan, and I probably I definitely didn't get out what I should have done, or what I could have done at the last peak. So importantly, only put in what you're willing to lose. It can go to zero, I promise you. Yeah, I've had a number of things that have pretty much gone underwater the second I've bought them. Think about your risk threshold. So are you the sort of person, if you're going to see it drop 20%, are you going to lose your mind and sell because you worry it's going to drop another 20%? So I have a very high risk threshold, so I can watch something drop down to 99.9%, and I pretty much write it off at that point. So I've got lots of what I call crypto dust, where coins have just gone to nothing and are worth literally pennies in my wallet, which at one point were worth hundreds or 1,000, etc. So high risk threshold is for me, but if you've got a low risk threshold, that will actually probably determine the sort of things that you buy or what you're looking into. Also think about your time horizon. So are you looking for an in and out in a few months? If you're talking days or weeks, then don't bother. I promise you won't make money. You will definitely lose if you've got that shorter time period, unless you're into sort of properly day trading like Briar is on his 10% swings on bonk or doing perps. I would say 3 months is the minimum time horizon. So what you're going to invest, whether it's £100 or £1,000 or whatever it is, think about, do I need that money in the next sort of 3 months, 6 months, a year? Because if you do, just don't bother, I would say, because what you'll end up doing is generally selling at a loss. So, and like I say, those three things for me will always determine what you're looking to invest in. And then importantly, have an exit plan for everything. So I have a target price for everything I own pretty much at various points that I'm going to sell it as it goes up, hopefully. If you don't have a target price and you don't stick to it, I promise you, your emotions will get ahead of you. You will get greedy. I have been there. You won't sell anything, and eventually you will watch it drop over time into pennies again rather than pounds. So have a plan, stick to it. It is quite galling when you sell a load and then it goes up another 20% and you could have made a lot more. But there's nothing bad about taking profit, and taking profit, eventually the more you do it, the better you get at it, and the more money you will make. It's as simple as that. And I'll share a story in a bit of something I did fairly recently. So to me, the real basics, so they're all on apps. It's centralised exchanges. I think if you're new to it, I would be sticking to that. I wouldn't really deviate from that at all, if I'm honest with you. If you want to learn about the more decentralized world of crypto, or you find something you want and it's you just can't find it on an exchange, then I'll happily talk you through on how to get to it and how to buy it in a safe manner as such. But I thought I would share with you quite a few of the things I own are available on most centralized exchanges, not all of them, but quite a lot of it also isn't. So I'm going to share my portfolio with you, and I talk you through how I sort of pick what I'm going for. Some of it's a bit of effectively throwing random darts. Some of it is I do a bit of, if I'm not doing the research on a particular project itself, I'll do that as well, but I'll also might look into Twitter, Telegram, etc. And I've got a few other weird crypto geeky friends that I've never met and never will, but we always talk about different projects, shilling or promoting the projects that we're into. So my strategy is fairly simple. I'm happy to lose what I put in, so I'm going full high risk, hoping that one or two really fly and I get a high reward, but I'm also expecting most of mine to pretty much die as well. So that you need to have that mindset, well I do anyway, to be able to sort of enjoy this as much as possible. Think about, I have quite a diverse level of projects based on the narratives of what they're doing. So you've got lots of different coins, cryptocurrencies, tokens, projects, whatever you want to call them, that might be doing something different or might be in a different part of crypto. So you could have crypto gaming, for example, was popular 3-4 years ago. The metaverse was really popular in sort of 2020, 2021. AI seems to be one of the big things this year. DeFi, so decentralized finance, so that could be a loan system, it could be an exchange. Layer 2, so there are lots of different chains, and they're all generally called layer 2s, so some layer 3s, etc. But the main sort of chains, lots of L2s, and lots of different other narratives. You could do betting. I'm trying to think of some of the other privacy coins. That's another one. I'll go through it when I go through my portfolio. I'll tell you what I remember of them, because some of these I've owned a while or I've bought them and accumulated over time, so I can't fully remember the narratives anymore. But at the minute I hold around 50 different ones. At one point I had about 80. I've sold some off, bought into others, etc. And as an average, well, I always put a minimum of $1,000 in, and then over time, if something goes up, I tend to take profits, move that into something else, but might leave some on the sidelines, which I'll go through this in a bit more detail with my portfolio. Like I say, I have set prices where I'm pretty much going to sell every token, so I have a target price, and importantly that you do it in stages, so not just one go in. And that's the same for buying. If you've got £1,000, let's say, sake of argument, I would be looking to maybe buy about £200 at a time, and at the same breath easing out at that point as well. So easing out a little bits at a time, not in all in one go, because if you do that, you could then quickly go up or go down, where if you do it in stages, you will get the best average. The more stages, the better average you'll get, but it depends how much time and effort you want to put into it. And like I say, as I said earlier, my general plan is to have sold everything by Q2 next year. That's the rough plan. So share my wonderful portfolio. So this is the start. Like I said, there's 50. So I'll go through them in a bit more detail. So what I consider low risk Bitcoin, I have very little, and I've only just bought some literally this week. I did have some when it was around 25 grand. When it got to 44,000, I talk about dollars, but I always talk in dollars. So when I think it got to about $44,000, it was when the ETF was published when it went live. That's when I sold what I had, and I had a fifth of a Bitcoin then. Took that money and moved it into something else. I pretty much regret that. I should have held on to it really, but c'est la vie. It is what it is. So I've just managed to buy $1,000 worth, so a very small amount. Like I say, the overall arching plan is to eventually sell all my other alts and put some into Bitcoin and make the rest into stables and take it out and hopefully buy something lovely. So my low risk, like I say, very little Bitcoin. ETH, in terms of the amount I've got 1.5 ETH, but my average price is 0 because that's just all profit now. So that's how I like to take it. So when I've put my initial investment in and then I've taken that out because I've sold some, then to me, I've taken profits. My average price is 0. That rides for free. So that's how I track my value. Solana, got about 5 sol. Again, I've taken all my profits on that. I bought that around $13, $14. At the minute, it's about 170, I think. But I sold most of that, if I'm honest. I sold most of it around $80. So, should have maybe held on, but I'm not that bothered. Solana, I've basically got that for what we call gas fees. So if you're playing on a Solana chain and buying projects within Solana, you need Sol to be able to do it as for like gas, for like transaction fees effectively, and that's the same for ETH as well. Then medium risk, or what I consider medium risk. So Jupiter is the big exchange on Solana. It's fantastic actually, again, as a user, using that system. I think it's wonderful. They also have their own app, so certainly worth looking at, and you can just create a wallet and use Jupiter. So I originally bought $1,000 worth of that. I wish I bought more, but hey ho, that's what you always say when it's gone up. But at the minute it's worth 3k. But I'm not looking to sell out Jupiter. It's about $1 at the minute, to give some context. Jupiter. I'm not looking to sell any Jupiter till around $4, if at least at the minute. I think that could go to 8 or 9, 10, possibly in the next bull run. But probably the best thing in crypto at the minute, I would say, is Jupiter. Then we've got Cronos. That was my original. That's what really sort of dragged me into crypto, to be honest with you. I loved crypto.com. I loved the Cronos chain. I bought lots of things within the Cronos chain. Now I actually don't own hardly anything within the Cronos chain, to be honest, because it's pretty dead at the minute. The community is a little bit toxic at the minute, so I've just sort of kept out of it. But I have an average price of 11 cents. I've got $5,000 into that at the minute. At the minute, the price off the top of my head is around 6 cents, so it's worth about $2,500. So that is a 50% haircut I've had on that so far. My thesis for Crow, in the past it was $1. That was its peak, just under $1. I definitely confidently will not get to $1 again. I think I'd take 50-60 cents at this stage. I think I'll start selling around 30, I think was my target, of 30 cents, maybe 28 cents, and then just ease out as we go. That it's a shame. Cronos is really a good chain, lots of good projects, and it might fly, but I got into that quite early and bought a lot, and then just managed to average my price. So I first bought Crow, it must have been around that 90 cents, maybe a bit before the run up. So, and I've averaged my price down, but still not down at the current sort of 5-6 cents price that it is now. Pepe, I'm talking through my portfolio, by the way. I'd love to hear yours, so if you are on the chat, please feel free to share stuff, or if I know it, I might give you my opinion on it, or you might find that I own some of it as well. I don't own any Bonk though. I don't really do many meme coins, apart from Pepe was a dream for me. I bought $3,000 originally. My Pepe is currently worth $5,000. I have taken $15,000 in profit though, so I've made a really big profit on Pepe, and I'm happy to let what I have run now, to be honest with you. If it does a 5x from now, that would be great. If it doesn't really do anything, I don't really care, to be frank. Like I say, I've taken out my money out of it. I've just kept hold of it because it could be the big meme coin this run that really flies, a bit like in the past Shiba Inu or Dogecoin were really big. This could be the one, or that I've always had that thesis from pretty much the start of owning Pepe. I also kicked myself because the day it came out, I saw it on Twitter and I almost bought some and didn't. And if I had, I was feeling bearish at the time, but if I had, I probably could have done a hell of a lot better. So I'm just holding on to it so I don't kick myself again with Pepe. Piff is an oracle, so this effectively other projects can feed from this oracle for information and use it for their systems. So I actually originally got an airdrop of this because I'd been using some apps that used Piff, and then when they launched their token, I got something called an airdrop, which is effectively you are given their coins when they launched as a thank you for using their service, their system, prior to them having a token. So I that is an full airdrop at $1,000. No, it wasn't. I got $1,500. I then sold it really quickly because I didn't have a clue what it was, and took the money. It was around maybe 34 cents, something like that. Sold it and then put it into something else along the way, and then actually looked into it and came back to it and rebought in and just put $1,000 in. It's worth basically $1,000 as of now. Where do I see this going? A couple of dollars maybe. I will start selling about 120, something like that. I don't think it'll be humongous gains, but hopefully I'm wrong. Anyone watching, has anyone got any sort of coins that they hold out of pure curiosity? I'll just happily keep talking through mine. So Ton is the Telegram chain, Telegram coin. So Telegram is a messaging app like WhatsApp, basically. It's exactly like WhatsApp actually, but there's a lot of crypto stuff on there. All the crypto groups are generally run on Telegram. So Telegram is what I pretty much use all day, every day, when it comes to catching up on what's going on in my various things I'm invested in, or talking to people in crypto. So Ton, again, only got $1,000 of this. Got late to the party on Ton, if I'm honest. I only got into this a couple of months ago. I'm in the red on this at the minute. It's at $900 at the minute. The plan is to buy more of Ton, to be honest, but see how it goes. That could be a big chain this year or next year, even 2025. But I've just chucked $1,000 just so I've got some skin in the game on it, to be honest with you. I need to do more work on the Ton ecosystem and the various projects that sit within it. I just haven't had time, or haven't cared enough yet. Okay, I carry on with my portfolio. So Sui, I bought Sui the day it came out. So Sui and Aptos are, they were dubbed the Solana killers. So they run on the same language, very similar in terms of fairly low cost, quick, etc. So if Solana ever sort of fell out of favour, I always thought one of these would pick up and fill the void. Talking from memory, I think both of them are from the failed Meta. Facebook did a crypto called Libra, I think it was called, and those teams sort of spurred out of that. The Meta shut it down, and then they set up their own. So Sui and Aptos, I got both on them really early. Aptos, originally I got into it at $3, sold quite a lot at $30. It went up to almost $30. Sold quite a bit, cashed out, and then rebought back in at a later date. So my average price is $7.35. I have $3,000 in that, and it's currently worth about $3.7, something of that nature, $3.8. Then we've got Arbitrum. So this is all I have an ETH playbook. So Ethereum, I think, still has the potential to be quite big this year. I think we could get up to about $8,000, sorry. This run, I keep saying this year, this run, at the minute it's about $2,500, and then there's lots of things that sort of are designed on the back of Ethereum. So Arbitrum's one, there's a few others which I'll cover, Alt, Metis. So I bought quite a lot of these ETH roll-up layer 2 style projects. None of them are working out for me at the minute, so but I think that's, most people are quite bearish on ETH at the minute. I think the tide will turn at some point and Ethereum will rise again and hopefully drag these with it. That's my rough thesis. So Arbitrum, again, another chain, lots of projects within that. I just haven't cared to look for it at the minute. I've got $3,000 in that. It's pretty much coming in half at the minute. $1,500 is what it is. It will either go up or die. That's the gamble that we take. Injective, currently worth $400 is what I got. An average price of 0 because effectively I bought quite a lot of Injective. Off the top of my head it was around $8 and sold most of it around $22 because I wasn't that bothered. I didn't really read up on it. I didn't care. It was just gaining popularity, or I was riding on the narrative because of it was part of doing some airdrops. So if you bought Injective and used it and staked it, you would get some airdrops of some other projects. So that was the sole reason. That was always my objective, to not really stick in it, but it's there. I might buy some more if it went particularly low at any point, but I'm quite happy with next to nothing in Injective at the minute. H bar, I've got $1,000 worth. H bar, I've been in and out of love with. I've bought. I had quite at one point. I had about $3,000. Sold it all because I just fell out of love with it, and then about 2 days after it went up about 50%. So go me. But I've been in and out. But I've just bought $1,000 more, maybe over the past sort of month or so, and it's pretty much it's not done anything. It's pretty much dropped a little bit, but. Theory on H bar again, last run I think it reached about 70 cents, 80 cents. I think I will start cashing out around 30, 40, 50. It's pretty much the same plan as Kronos, to be honest, my H bar plan. So generally I'm going to sell them side by side. So, and then these are all high risk, by the way. Everything I have is high risk really, but some of them are in the sort of high market caps, or in the top 50, and you'll be able to buy them on most exchanges. Some of them you won't be able to buy on most exchanges. But the Say network, again, got quite a bit of that. $2,000. It's up a little bit at the minute. I got a little airdrop as well with that because I actually used it, and I've got some other coins within the Say network, but really fairly, not really substantial amounts, a few $100s of a few projects in there, so they're not even worth talking about. But Say is another chain, another L2 that could do well, could not. We'll find out. Tensor is an NFT platform on Solana. Again, fairly recently bought Tensor, and that's only because I was looking for projects in Solana for the next 6 months that are fairly well established, and like I say, NFT marketplaces might become popular again. So it's the only reason I bought some, is the narrative of Solana will sort of be very popular still remain popular over the next 6 months, and some of these other projects will get some love and grow. So currently a break even on that. Then got stuff like Wormhole, which was effectively to bridge money from one chain to another. It's really quite difficult to move money from, let's say, Solana to Ethereum. You have to use either bridges or go via back the exchange and then back out the other way, but then that can have tax implications, that can have issues with the exchange if you're constantly moving money through them. So you tend to have to use something called bridges, so you keep it off the book, so to speak, and move it from chain to chain. That's what Wormhole was. What I didn't probably do any work on it is it was very much a VC, a venture capital funded project, and they sell the shit out of them when they launch. So that's pretty much what happened to my Wormhole. Currently a 50% haircut. At one point it was about a 90% haircut, and that was with me averaging my price down as well. But the plan with Wormhole Pure is get that better to a break even there or thereabouts and sell it and move that $4,000 into something else. I don't want to sell it at a loss, and I won't sell it at a loss, to be honest, unless obviously it never recovers there, but I think it will, to be honest. I think it'll go past my average price quite comfortably at some point, but I would like to take that, get it as a break even, and then move it across into something else. Marinade is a liquid staking token when it comes to Solana. Again, this is just another Solana project. Again, made some money on this when I first got into it, because Solana was really kicking off about a year ago when I first started playing with it, and all these coins were flying. I was also in Radium as well. I had quite a bit in Radium. Although I literally just checked the price of Radium, it's about $3. I sold out at about $1.10, but I bought all my tokens at about 20 cents. So if I'd have kept all those 20 cents tokens and sold now at $3, I would have done really well. But like I say, that's how crypto goes. I was very short term in the past year with some projects, and certainly if you ever tried Radium or using Radium, it's really shit, to be honest. It's really slow and clunky. So based on that thesis of it's crap to use, it's crap for the user, I jumped out of it. What I didn't think about Radium is that's where all the liquidity is kept. That's where all the liquidity pools are, certainly when it comes to pump.fund coins and all these other things. So I probably should have held on to that. If it ever drops again, unlikely, but if it does get back down to that dollar entry point, then I would definitely jump into it, but certainly won't be doing it anytime soon. Debridge has just launched literally a week ago maybe, so I got some airdrop. Again, not much, but I used it a bit. I thought it's a really good, and this is a bridge. This is a bridging protocol, so again, really easy to move coins from one chain to another. And debridge works really well. I highly recommend it if you do want to move any coins from chain to chain. It's rapid. The fees aren't particularly bad. So when they said they were launching a token, I very much got a little bit of it, not that much. So I'm hoping to buy more, if I'm honest, over the next month or so, couple of months. So at the minute I've got I bought $700 worth. It's worth $600 right now, but it's been out a week, so not gonna stress about that. Other ones, Wales was my dream project this year. This is a marketplace. This is a pre-marketplace. So when airdrops were a big thing about a year ago, people were getting airdrops of a token. You could actually pre-sell them in this pre-market rather than waiting for the token to launch and then selling it on the open market. And that's effectively what Wales is. The system's really good. The team was good, but I only bought $1,000 with this, and I took out 60 grand in profit, and I have very little left. I have a few thousand tokens left, worth a couple $100. I'm just leaving it. It will never return back to where it was, but I've taken a lot of money out of Wales. I was really pleased with that. It's actually a really good project. If I didn't want to buy all these other things, would I buy more Wales now to then hope for a price rise? Yeah, I probably would. I think it's about 10 cents at the minute off the top of my head. 10, 11 cents. Just to give context, at its height it went to almost $4, I think it was. I sold at variant points, so I could have made a lot more money out of this, but I bought everything at 3 cents, and I sold, my average was around $2, and I even sold quite a big chunk when it went to like $1, so I could have made a lot more money, but there's nothing wrong, and I'm certainly never upset about making profit. So that was Wales. Coty's a privacy coin. I've got $2,000 in that at the minute. It's still worth around $2,000. Nothing's not really doing anything. It's pretty flat. It's been up and down, so I was in profit, I was in loss. But again, this is my time horizon for nearly all of these is for the next 6 months. By the way, I've not cared about the current price of today. I just thought I would share the current price of today to show that you can be very quickly underwater, even if you've been doing this a while. It's just one of those things. It goes up and down. Devi is a chain based on ESG. So ESG is a big thing when it comes to finance trading. You can invest in certain companies as part of like an ESG ETF, etc. It's done by, I want to say, like ex Warner Brothers or HBO or someone like that. Like a chief executive of one of those companies has set up this Devi. So I actually bought in it when it first came out. I didn't get into the pre-sale. I bought when it sort of token launched, made a quick $1,000 and then disappeared because I wasn't that bothered. And then it dropped massively down in price again, so I bought back in. So I'm pretty much flat with Devi at the minute. But again, if it goes up, I got it 27 cents at the minute. If it goes up to $1, which it could do quite quickly, I'll pretty much cash out. I'm not that bothered about the project. If I can take a 3x, 4x, then I'll be a happy boy. But also, if I lose $1,000, it's okay as well, and that's so why some of mine are quite low investments. Some of them are a little bit higher. ZK Flare, so it's a roll up for Ethereum. My $3,000 I put into this is currently worth $300, so absolutely tanked. 90% down on this. I have considered averaging more in, but sometimes you've just got to let something die and accept you might not make your return. And even if I average my price down, I'm not even sure I'm going to get my sort of money back out of this one. So probably let it die, but we'll leave it running. It's on my list. I have a list of coins that if I come into any more money that I would buy a bit more of, and it is on there. So we'll see. Metis, this is again part of the Ethereum L2 sort of narrative. Yeah, again, had my hair cut on that, but I was in quite good profit at one point with Metis, so I should have probably cashed some out and then left the rest to ride like I did with many others. But I think quite like Metis. I think it'll do well. It's in the top 100, so I've got $3,000 worth, currently worth half of that at the minute. But things can very quickly change in crypto, so I'm certainly not one I'm concerned about, and I probably won't cash out for a good period. I think roughly at about $180 was around my first sellout of Metis. It could keep going from there. Loads of others. I've got Dog Runes. I never looked into what Runes really is and does, but it's basically building on Bitcoin on the chain. There's loads of projects. I bought some in a pre-market. I took some profits, and then I've just left it just because I haven't had the time to look into what on earth all this runes is. I will do at some point, but I just bought into the narrative. It was really popular a couple of months ago. It will definitely be popular again. So, and this is just like a meme coin, effectively built on Bitcoin. So not that exciting. AltLayer, that's another one of these Ethereum L2 type projects. So again, had my face ripped off on Alt so far, but again, not really worried. ChatGPT, I can't even remember. I'm going to assume it was AI. I made some money on this quite quickly in about a week or so. So took profits on it, and I've just left it, and it's still in profit. So again, I should probably look at what it is, but I put such a small amount into it, I wasn't that bothered. And that's exactly the same for the ISP link. Again, already took a load of profits on it, so not that bothered what it is. I'm just going to let it ride and see what it does. Flow's an old coin. I'm testing my memory as to what it was. It's a chain, but it's on all the exchanges. I can't remember what the chain did. I should do, but again, currently down on that. I had previously bought it, sold some, bought it, sold it. I've sort of held Flow for about 3 years, I think, is how long it's been out, maybe 2 years or something like that. So I've been in and out of it, to be honest. The plan here is get it to just double its money and move it into something else. I'm not that particularly bothered about the chain. And then a few others. Starknet, $4,000. I've missed the other one. What was did I mention? Maybe I deleted it by mistake. Yeah, I didn't mention. I mentioned Aptos. GMAI has been my Achilles heel. So I put $16,500 into this, which sounds crazy, and with hindsight, it definitely is crazy. But I put $16,500 into this because it was the same guy that did the Whales project. So I made lots of money on Whales, and then they were setting up this this AI project, which actually the functionality and the systems they've done are really good. They've just launched a new thing called Paper Hands, where you can attach your wallet and see where you've sort of lost on stupid meme coin bets, or where you could have fumbled it and could have made millions on a stupid meme coin that you sold too early. So it's quite cool. But yes, so at the minute I've got $16,500 into this, currently worth just under 17,000. I'm actually locked into this, so I would cash out now and just wash my face on this, but I'm locked in until mid-November because I staked it. The reason I'd cash out now is basically the guys that run this now have turned into scammy shithouses a little bit. The coin token, this particular token started off at, I want to say it was about 12-13 cents, and within an hour dropped to under a penny. It was an absolute disaster. So and the balls it up and have not really communicated much. So I certainly would not invest any more into it. I'd very much like to take out what I've got into it. The hope is it's pumped up a little bit more by the time I get to the middle of November, with the general crypto hopefully pumping. Or I could get absolutely rinsed on this one and it goes to nothing in the next 2-3 weeks while I'm locked into this project. So fingers crossed I can take some out and move that. The plan is to move that very much, spread it across a few other projects and things I've got on my list. I won't be cashing it out in terms of into pounds to spend it. This is my investment play money, and most of that 16.5 was money from Pepe as well. So I cashed out, like I say, quite a bit of profits in Pepe and stuck it all into this. Initially I had put $20,000 into it, but I've cashed some out. I bought some that I didn't stake. I didn't stake it all, and then cashed some out. So I'm just waiting for the big chunk to unlock at some point. Portal's a gaming coin, gaming project. I was also in, what's the other gaming one, the big one? I've not long sold it. it'll come to me. I made money on it anyway, and I was quite happy with it. Gaming's one of those narratives that sort of comes up in and out of crypto, so that was a project I was very much into. I can't even think what it's really called now. It's in the top 20 or so. It's a high coin. But anyway, so when I cashed out that, I got into Portal, which recently launched. Pretty much got my face ripped off straight away, so it's about 50% of where I bought it. And again, that's averaging my price down. It was worse than that. MAGA, Make America Great Again. This is just a Donald Trump meme coin. I've taken a lot of profits on this, so I'm fine. I've got about $1.5 still. That is what it's worth right now. I've the plan to sell that in the next week or so, building up to the elections. My theory is it might pump on the pre-election day, and then it'll probably tank the minute that the election's done. So that's the rough plan, to sell out fairly soon, take the rest of the profits out of that. But we will see. And then HBAR, like I say, HBAR is pretty flat. I did talk about HBAR, talked about them. And then StartNet, like I say, this is one of these big VC ones that also got screwed over on. And I've only got $4,000 into that because, again, I'm trying to average my price down to then basically take out when it's at break even and walk away. That's the same with Wormhole. They're the two I'd like to jump out of when I can get to a break even price. But we'll go with it. We will see. Scallop is a DeFi protocol on the SUI network. So again, got quite a bit into Scallop. Used it quite a bit. Staked quite a bit of money in it as well. At the minute, I'm getting a bit screwed on it, but I have taken some money out as well, so that's fine. That will probably run. When SUI does well, Scallop seems to go up as well, so that's a bit of a leveraged bet on SUI. So if SUI goes up 10%, Scallop can go up 20%. So that's effectively, and that's again when you're looking into some of all these chains, all these L2s. Sometimes you want to look inside them, or some of these other projects that run them, because effectively you can consider them almost a weird leverage bet on the main chain going up in how much you believe it. And then I own loads of these other ones which I didn't want to go into much detail, but DYDX is a perps, a perpetual perps exchange. TIA, Celestia, I can't remember, I think this linked chains together. I took out my money on that, so everything I've got riding for free basically on TIA. I would buy back in if it drops a bit, but I'm quite happy with what I've done with TIA. 4 Swap, so that's an exchange, a decentralized exchange on the Runes chain. Origin, can't remember what that was. I think it was like a D-pin, so real world use of crypto. Astra, again can't fully remember. Unibot is a Telegram bot app where you can trade on it. It was the first big one. I also have Loot, which is another one, but that's more about airdrop hunting. But yeah, so they are trading apps, Unibot on Telegram. They actually work really well. Unibot was the first one, but I've got about $5,000 in that at the minute. It's worth about $3,000, so I've pretty much lost a bit of faith with Unibot, and again when I can break even I will. Kajira is another chain. Atom is part of. These are all the Cosmos system has screwed me actually. I've got quite a few. Kajira, Atom, Osmo, Pico, Evmos, Kanto, Lunk/Luna. All of these are within the Cosmos system, and are pretty much, most of them are underwater. Maybe by anywhere up to 50%, I would have said. Pulse Chain, that is Richard Hart's chain, which is effectively a copy of Ethereum. So I've got probably $5,000 in Pulse Chain, not because I care about it, not because I think I use it, or I think Richard Hart's a particularly great guy, just because, like he did last time, Hex flew. I think if he is going to get another flyer, it might be Hex again, but I'm thinking it could be Pulse Chain, so I stuck a bit into that just as a bit of a weird gamble. And then Peak and Crest. So Peak is yet to launch. I'm on the pre-sale of that with $2,000. Crest is its sister Canary chain. So you need some Crest and when Peak launches, so I can put them together and stake them. And that, again, big deep in project. That's a bit of a long-term investment. I don't know how it will run when it does launch. I think it launches next week, peak actually, but I don't know how it will run over the next. It might have to wait for the next bull run for it to fly. So a bit of a long term. Having said that, if it does something particularly good in the next sort of 6 months, then I'll probably will sell it all out. I'm not that bothered. I don't care, and that's my whole thing about crypto. I don't care too much about the systems and the projects and what they do or what they might do, because effectively in most cases you're invested in what their potential is and what they might do. I'm not that bothered. I do like crypto and I like the functionality of certain things, and I can see its value, so I can see the value of where it could play into the real world, but I still think it's probably too early to see that in reality for day-to-day my missus or my mother-in-law to be using something that is using a crypto. I'm struggling to see that in the real world, so very much a short-term thesis for the next 6 months effectively as to all these projects. So I intend to sell every single one of them within hopefully 6 months, there or thereabouts. So that's a general thesis. So my portfolio roughly, I think it's around 60 grand, $60,000, $70,000, somewhere in that. I don't care enough to check it. It's spread across too many wallets and exchanges to really look into it in any serious detail, because I'm not looking to sell anything at the minute. The important part is I know what my average price is on pretty much everything. I know today's prices on everything. I will know tomorrow's prices and next month's, and I've got it written down, but mostly in my head as well, as to where I'm going to sell things. So hopefully in 6 months' time, I would we'll see where we are. For all of this is all no risk for me now, because all of this is profit. None of anything I've got in my portfolio is all washed its face and is all profit because of the money I made on whales that I cashed out, all my initial investments. So everything I've got is riding for free. So I have nothing to lose in my portfolio, which is very different. And I have been, when I have had money to lose, your mentality, your emotional responses to things is very, very different when you see it drop 20% or 30%. So it's a very difficult thing to have to deal with, but over a period of time you do just get used to it. I in the depths of the bear market, when I'd lost 95% and it dropped another 10%, I didn't care. You just have to write it off. So that's why it's important you only ever put in what you're willing to lose. And that's the same with any investment. That's not just crypto, but crypto is very volatile comparatively to most other assets. So, but much more enjoyable, I must say. When it does run and things go up, it's exciting, and when it drops, it's depressing. But I like the roller coaster rather than the carousel, I guess. So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. Happy to answer them. Otherwise, I will end my weird crypto lecture.